All right, all right, all right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you are in this beautiful world. Welcome to our Wednesday evening Inner Circle live session. I'm your host, Ryan Carthage. Will be joined shortly by my awesome partner, Mr. Benny Allen. Hope everybody has had an awesome Wednesday and looking forward to getting the session kicked off. So, as always, let's turn off all distractions, grab a pen and paper for notes, and let's make sure that we participate and engage. All right. So going to switch over to trading economics. Got a bit to go over from a fundamental perspective. Um, see how the eventful day transpired. So real quick, just drop me one in the chat if you can hear me okay, please. Perfect. Greatly appreciate it. Beautiful. All right. So over to trading economics and inflation. U.S. inflation report falls more than expected. The annual inflation rate in the U.S. eased for a ninth consecutive period to 5% in March, the lowest since May 2021, and compared to market expectations of 5.2, as the cost of food cost of food and services grew at a slower pace and energy index declined. Still, the core inflation inched up for the first time in 6 months to 5.6, boosted by higher shelter costs. All right. So the Fed primarily focuses on that core inflation number, and it creeped up just a little bit. Right. Overall, inflation is down, but the core, removing food and energy, crept up a bit. So that's something to keep in mind as we continue to discuss the Fed and ultimately their decision on the next rate hike. Um, then we had here, I'm going to go to the calendar and we'll come back to that just so we can see everything that transpired today. So we had the rate statement, the CPI report, right? Came in here. Then we had uh, Bank of Canada monetary policy statement, right? Monetary policy report. Bank of Canada held rates as expected, right? Then we had FOMC minutes, right? That also came out today. So had a lot going on that we want to move through. So sticking with the United States, from the FOMC minutes, members observed that inflation remained much too high and that the labor market remained tight as a result. They anticipated that some additional policy firming may be appropriate to attain sufficient restrictive policy stance to return inflation to 2%. The minutes from March 21st and 22nd. Still, many participants noted that that the likely effects of the recent banking sector developments on economic activity and inflation had led them to lower their assessments of the rate target range, and that the collapse of two regional banks would likely tip the economy into recession later this year. Right, several members considered it appropriate to hold interest rates steady in March, right? While others noted that they would have considered a 50 basis point hike. So they were split, right? Some wanted to go higher, some wanted to go lower, right? In the absence of the recent developments in the banking sector, Fed raised the funds rate by 25 basis points, right? Pushing borrowing costs. So ultimately, what they kind of came to is additional rate hikes may be appropriate, right? So they'll continue to monitor things and see how things go. Now, looking at that core inflation number as it inched up just a little bit, that could lean them toward, right, potentially going another 25 basis points, right? So we'll continue to monitor that and monitor the market sentiment as we move through the rest of the week. U.S. stock futures edged lower on Thursday after minutes from the Federal Reserve March policy meeting revealed several members were concerned that the recent banking turmoil would cause a recession, while still signaling another interest rate hike in May, right? So investors are looking at and potentially preparing to price in at least one more interest rate hike. Some have already started to do that, right? But they're also concerned about that recession word that is coming back into the conversation, seeing as the banking situation that we have in front of us as well. You also have some investors that are saying that the banking situation is not over yet. So we could see more banks start to go through some changes. Read a report, I have to find the article, but there were banks that put money together to cover a regional bank. I believe they put like $5 billion a piece, Chase, Bank of America, and I believe it was two or three others. Those banks are now moving money into additional reserves to try to protect themselves because they're uncertain on if they're going to get their money back in the future. And they don't know if they do, they don't know how long it will take for them to get their money back, right? That $5 billion that each of them put in. So there's some concern there, right, regarding the stability of that particular investment that the banks came together to put in. So you still have banks out there worried about the current situation. We also had Jamie Dimon talking about, this was a couple of days ago, talking about there's still more banking turmoil to go, right? So we're not out of the woods yet when it comes to the banking situation. Some feel, right? So we'll have to keep that in mind, and the Fed obviously will also be keeping that in mind as they continue to move through their processes. So we'll keep all those things in the back of our mind as we move through the coming weeks. Bank of Canada, right? We noted that they held the rate at 4.5%, right? um, it previously signaled that. It stated that it will continue to monitor the latest data for future decisions on policy rate. The decision followed a tightening pause in March, as the governing council believed that current borrowing costs are restrictive enough to bring inflation down to 2%, and opted to support slowing growth. Right. So Bank of Canada did what they said they were going to do, and they also said they're going to continue to be data dependent on the decisions that they make in the future. All right. So that's there, and they're going to continue to monitor. So that's the Bank of Canada rate statement. Yeah, we had WTI crude futures jumped 1.8% to $83 a barrel on Wednesday, right? Hitting the highest since November of last year, right? So got oil moving to the upside as well. So the kind of an interesting back and forth with the Canadian currency as oil is pushing up. However, Bank of Canada is keeping rate statements the same. So a little mixed on the Canadian dollar, right? So that is it from a fundamental perspective. Coming up tomorrow, we got pound GDP numbers coming out at 2 a.m. Then we have core PPI producer price index for the United States at 8:30. Governor Macklin from Bank of Canada speaking at 9. And then G20 meetings happening tomorrow as well as the International Monetary Fund. So a little lighter day tomorrow, but still got some news that could give us some additional insight. So that's it from fundamentals. Do we have any questions, or did you guys see anything that you wanted to note this evening?
No.
Nope. All right. Cool deal. Well, let's hop over to the chart. We'll take a look at the DXY. We'll take a look at some of the dollar crosses, and then there are a couple pairs that I want us to take a look at that have some potential setups for us. So, and we'll look at the setup that we posted also in the Discord channel as well. Da, 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 da. Here we go. So dollar index, right? The response was push down. Boom. Right. This is on the 4-hour time frame. Overall monitoring this crown pattern, right? And this is that smaller wave on that C to D push, right? So we press down. We're coming back to this previous level of daily support. Okay. So we'll continue to monitor, start through the Asian session, getting a sideways push, and we'll see what happens tomorrow, right? See how the market opens, and see after investors have digested everything, we'll see how how the market responds. Okay, see how the market responds. So that's the DXY holding right now at that support level. Okay, come back to the daily and look at it from that perspective, right? And that's that previous level there, and we should actually move that down there. That's our new support, right? So that's a level we more room to the downside to get to that new level of support. Previous level is still holding though, so we'll watch and see how things transpire through tomorrow, right? Do we get a push down to that support level and then get a double bottom situation and a pushback long, right, on recession fears? Or do we break the support level and continue pressing down to finish this fib out at these daily and weekly support levels, right? So that's what we'll be watching as we move through the rest of the week and into next week. All right. So that's where we stand. 50% retracement. We're pressing down. we'll see what happens at that daily support level. All right. So that's the DXY. Let's take a look at that euro dollar. All right. Euro dollar is still pressing to the upside. Let's go to the weekly quickly. Right. Weekly, we're pressing back up to this weekly resistance level. Okay. Previously rejected from. Don't have a 382 on the weekly time frame. We'll see what happens once we get to this 110 level. Coming down. Right. That's the look there on the daily. We got a 618 retracement. Matching D extension is here at 115. So got a few levels to break through here. We broke through that daily level. We'll take that out. And actually we'll add this support level here as that candle closed, 2 to the right. So that's our new support level there. Okay, that's our new support level. Got another one there in that range there, but we're pressing long. So next level of interest is 110, 312. We'll see if we're able to break through that and continue making our way to the upside to get to the matching D extension at 115. All right, so tomorrow will be interesting as price continues to push, to the upside. Okay, drop that down. On the 4, right, similar deal to the daily, except we got an 8-6 retracement, matching extensions at 111. Okay, so just above that 110 zone. So that'll be something that we'll have to keep our eyes on as well as price continues to work its way up. Right, matching D extension here. That's the first level before we get to that daily D extension around that 115 zone. Okay, so we're still pushing long. Right, been even talking about bullish on the euros, and right, it's playing out. Bullish on the euros. Right, it hasn't stopped chugging. Okay, so we come down here to the 1, and looking at this here, right, we finally got this fib to play out. We didn't get a rejection off of this retest, right, and continue pressing down, press to the upside in a very, very strong way, right? Strong bullish move, got a fresh AB boundary, the extension hit there, right? So now what we want to see is this is that 110 level that we brought down from the weekly, right? So question is, do we push into this weekly level and then get a retracement before we get a continuation? Right? Do we get something like that? Okay. And then give us an opportunity to get back long. Okay. So we'll watch this one closely. This is one that we'll post in the Discord so that we can track it. All right. So that's where we are there. So we'll watch that closely to see what happens. Now, again, right, if we go ahead and just break through this level and continue pressing long, then we'll allow price to do what it's going to do. We're going to allow the euros to run. Okay. So any questions on the Euro USD?
No.
No. Janice, you got a question? Nope. All right, cool deal. So that's the Euro USD. Let's take a look at the pound dollar. All right, pound dollar, right? Pressing long from weekly time frame perspective. We got a 382. We're breaking through this weekly resistance level here, right? Couldn't break above it last week. We're trying to break through it again now, right? So strong push to the upside. We'll see if we're able to continue tracking to the upside, right? We got that crown pattern here that is working to play out. All right. We got a weak dollar. Boom. Okay. Got a weak dollar, right? So currencies are starting to run. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if we are able to continue to stay bullish on these crosses. And that's all right, Janice. You can type your question into the chat, and we can still get your question answered.
All right. Can you hear me now?
I can, yes.
Okay. I apologize for that.
No, you're fine.
getting you here from. What I was going to ask, sorry, about the last pair was I was wondering. You said that if the C if it does I think a bit of retracement and continue up, the other option is it just could just go. Is this like part of the 80/20
Yep. So right here,
setup?
right here on the 1 hour. Yep. So if we push up to this weekly level into this 118, 127 zone, okay, that 80/20 remembers anything less than the 38.2 on the retracement off of the B boundary, right? So we haven't gotten to this 382 level after that B boundary was established, right? So price continues to push up into this 118, 127 zone here. And then high high percentage of the time, we see price give us a deeper retracement at that point, at least getting back to that 382 level. Sometimes we'll get it to go deeper. Okay. And then, right, I'm looking just from the fundamental perspective of being bullish on the euros, right? Meaning euros will continue to gain strength um, or be the dominant, the stronger currency in this pair. This will just be a retracement for a low price to then continue moving long, moving to the upside, right? So, yes, this is an 80/20 scenario that we're looking to play out here with a push up into that 118, 127 zone. Make
Got it.
sense?
Thanks so much. Yeah, thank
You're
you.
welcome. You're welcome. Appreciate you asking. All right, back to the pound dollar, right? So, pressing long, right? Pressing long, breaking through that weekly level, come here to the daily, and we're still, right? We're playing at that level. We're able to close above. This was April 3rd, right? We pulled back down, and now we're pushing back above that weekly level here. All right. Still haven't gotten a 382, but we're trying to continue to stay bullish here. Right. Now, on this fib running to the upside, that 118, 127 zone is in line with that 126 level here. Okay. So if the dollar remains down, right, we could see price push to this next level, right? And then we'll monitor again to see how the market responds. Okay. So that's what we want to keep our eyes on is if we stay above this weekly level and we push into that 118, 127 zone on the daily time frame. Right. And that'll put us also in range for that 618 retracement off of our larger capital fib here. All right. And that's our capital fib on the daily. These are just those smaller waves making their way to the upside. Right. So this next level at 126, we'll monitor to see how price responds. Right now, excuse me, if for whatever reason, right, dollar gets bullish, could see this turn over, right? Like so. So we'll continue to monitor this from a longer term perspective, but price is pushing to the upside against the dollar pairs. Okay. Down on the 4. Similar story as the daily. Still haven't gotten to that 382, right? But look, potentially looking at that 126 level. Okay. It's been long. Hasn't got much of a retracement, but we've gotten some of the smaller waves to play out here, right? So we'll see once we get to that level what happens. Okay. So that's what we're looking at from the 4-hour perspective down on the 1, right? Down on the 1, clear this up. This is what you have, right? You got a 618 retracement. C to D move is playing out on the 1-hour time frame. Broke back above, right? Benny talked about this last night. Broke back above the cloud, right? Gave us almost a double bottom scenario here, right? And we're pressing long, push back above that level. So we'll see if we get price to continue to the D extension on the 1 hour, which is in line with that weekly resistance level. Okay. So looking long here, looking for that to continue, at least in the short term. Okay. Could potentially get retest and then that push. Right. So that's your CDD move playing out there on the pound dollar. So nothing doing right now. If you get that retest and if you trade the break and retest, right, look for that to continue to the upside. Questions here on the pound dollar?
Yes, this is Janice again. So
Yep.
on a pound dollar, I took a trade on it, the 4 hour time frame, and I was looking at yours that you just had there, and I think what I did, like, so I did map out the A to B, and for some reason, for I think what I did was on mine, the A, and then the B, I had it as the next highest,
At the next
as
high
a,
here.
as the next high, like below, before that, which we have is the B, I believe. And then I had my C at another point, which made me feel like, I could make the buy. So
I
I'm
got you.
trying to,
So
so
are
I'm
you
trying to
drawing those
figure that out.
manually?
Yeah,
Okay.
I was.
Using TradingView?
No, I have Smart
Oh yeah,
Trader, but I
okay.
was
But
trying
you're
to
just
get
working on
used
okay.
to.
No,
Yeah,
that's
so
beautiful.
I'm not sure, because it looks like when I took mine, it just was it just looks a little bit different. Like there's some other I have it in fractals as well, and I did see a point. I think I
So
took the
yours looks
point
like
which was
this.
right on. Let's see. Um, more. Yeah. Well, actually, Um, I had a deeper retracement for
Did you
C.
pull it to that high there?
I think it is. I'm trying to look at my chart now. Which you see, my chart looks a little messy, but I had my B at I'm sorry, I'm
You okay? You got a
trying to
price
see.
point for it? Can you see that?
Yeah, so let me see. What did I put it in at? This is the GU. I think when I put it in, it was at 1.23869. I'm looking at my MetaTrader.
Your buy entry?
Yeah,
Gotcha, 2389. So you
1.23869. 1.23869.
okay, so around this level here.
Yeah, and I put my take profit. I put at 1.25829. Um,
Okay. So
yeah, but I was just
this
looking
is
at
more
my.
in line with we'll take this down to the 1 hour, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is more in line with this move here,
With that,
right?
yeah, that's what it looked like
Yep. So this
to
is
me. Like,
these are your smaller waves here on the 1 hour time frame. And
right?
that's a beautiful read, right? The 618 retracement. You got
Yeah,
the swing low to form, price started pushing to the upside, you take your buy. That's beautiful. That's great work on the 1 hour time frame on the smaller waves, right? So on the higher time frame, it'll look different just because these are just those fractals, right? Just those smaller waves off of that low point,
right.
right? So your 4 hour will
Okay,
look a little bit different. Um, and you're just tracking with those smaller waves, you're tracking this move here,
got it. Okay,
right? So that's why it looks different for you because you're literally tracking just that small move there on the 1 hour, right? But on the 1 hour, like I said, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. You got your deep retracement, and then you took your opportunity. Great work. Great work.
thanks.
So
And we'll
now,
see how it plays out.
yeah. Continue to monitor it, right? So as price continues to move in your favor, adjust your stop loss, right? At some point, you'll bring it to break even. And this is part of that exploratory phase, right? Where you're going to have to play with some things until you get comfortable with how you manage your trade, right? So just be cognizant of how it felt to take the trade, right? Which is awesome. You did it. Now, how does it feel to monitor that trade as it moves in your favor, right? And as you adjust your stop loss as price continues to move, what thoughts do you have? How are you monitoring it? How many pips in a profit do you take it at what point, right? So just things to keep in mind as you continue to go through that process. Beautiful job.
Okay, thanks so much. I
You're welcome.
appreciate it.
You're welcome. And just remember, right? Because you said your 4 hour fib looked a little different. Just remember as you're mapping those out that um, the D, right, is the first swing high after the matching D extension is achieved,
Okay, you
right?
said the D or the B?
It'd be the D and it would be the B, right? So
Right, got
your D becomes your new B,
you. Yep,
right? So your D
and the C is
extension
the
was
new A.
achieved here, okay?
Right.
So your D extension, that level, right there at 127.85. So your first swing high after that level is achieved is here,
Gotcha. Okay.
right? So now when you draw your next fib, your C is your lowest point in between the AB boundary, right? Your C becomes your new A.
Mm-hmm.
This is your C.
Mm-hmm.
C becomes your new
Yep.
A, right? And your D becomes your new B, right? That first swing high. So now that's your fib there.
Gotcha.
Make
Okay.
sense?
Yep. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Great work. Great work. Kudos to you. I love it. Love it. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So that's where we sit there. And on the one, pressing long, right? Matching the extension is in line with that weekly level, right? So on the move to the upside there. Okay. Any other questions on the pound dollar?
No.
All right. Awesome. Benny, good evening, bro.
Brian, good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. Out here in these streets, rocking and rolling.
I know you're making it happen, dog.
That's all. That's all.
That's
Everything
awesome,
good, man. Super busy day. Another one, but it'll calm down sooner or later.
Yeah, it will. It will.
Yep.
Cool deal, man. I don't know if you're still driving, if you had to charge, but you got any thoughts on the happenings of the day?
No, just I guess looking at the I'm still driving too. I haven't gotten to my charts yet, but still just looking at the median minutes from the FOMC, really looking at homing in on core inflation, which again today, right? That core inflation is still well above target. Calling for in the median minutes, expecting potential, right? A mild recession.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the year, so towards the end of the year, who knows? We'll see. But it's still work to do on that core. But you do have, right? You do have, they're not all 100% like they were last meeting for the 25 basis points. Yeah, they're not all on the same page. So it's going to be interesting going forward. So they're expecting. I can see the people on the side are saying, "Hey, maybe we don't need a 25 basis points because you're already starting to see in some situations where bank credit is starting to tighten. Which could aid in bringing inflation down, right? If credit starts to tighten, you get less hiring, layoffs, things like that. So that's a tool that they do not have, but the banking sector does have. So if that credit starts to tighten, that can help aid in that inflation coming down towards that target. So there's a lot of things that they still have to weigh leading up to that May meeting. So I'm not, at least from my opinion, based on the meeting minutes that I saw, I'm not going 100% that is definitely going to be 25 basis points, come May.
Yeah. I agree.
So we'll see. Maybe being at the core, right? So we saw overall like inflation come down because of energy, and food. But when you strip that out, the energy and the food costs, and you look at the core, it's still up there.
Yeah.
So I guess it's all going to be, like they say, data dependent leading up to the May meeting. So to see how the rest of April plays out. But like I said, definitely not 100% in regards to, hey, they're definitely going to go 25 basis points.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Definitely mixed bag. Definitely a mixed bag. So we shall see how things go for the rest of the month.
Sure.
Cool deal. Appreciate you, bro. Travel safe, man. So that's the pound dollar. I want to jump real quick, take a look at I want to jump over, take a look at this pound NZD. We looked at it yesterday. I believe it was Joy pointed it out to us. I don't want to take a look at it because right, we'll come back to daily time frame, and we said, hey, on the date. Well, somebody said something. No. Okay. We said, hey, right, the extension is coming into play here, right? We broke through this previous daily resistance level, right? And we pushed into that daily D extension, right? So that level is no longer there. Excuse me, we're tracking price to the upside now, right? So D extension achieved. Now we look for, right, at some point, swing high to form, new AB boundary, retracement, potential continuation. So we come down to the 4, right? And that red line was that D extension on the daily, right? And that red line is right in between that 118, 127 zone, right? So this is what we're looking to see happen yesterday was price to continue press into this 118, 127 zone off the shallow retracement and achieve that D extension. So now we'll look to see if we get a reset, right? We'll look to see if we get a reset. We may not. So something we want to keep our eyes on from a long-term swing trade perspective. Okay. That's our whoops, didn't want to move that. I was like there. But this is the setup on the 4, right? TP1 there, TP2 there. Okay. So we'll watch this. And if we get our confirmations, right, on the lower time frames, we'll look to see if we can get that retracement. All right, we'll look to see if we get that retracement. Matching D extension is here at $2.03. Right, so distance there, but nice retracement opportunity if we get it. Okay, so 80-20 on the 4 hour, come down to the 1, and on the 1, similar story. Right, we knew that we'd push through that 118, 127 zone if we got to that daily D extension. Right, so we're looking for retracement, come back, retest that cloud, which we got. We got to push into that zone now, right? So let's continue to watch to see if we get things to develop for us. We get a swing high to form here, and we start to turn over and give us this, go into this retracement phase. All right. So 80-20 on the Aussie news just got released. We'll take a look at it. All right. So that's on the 1, and then on the 15. Fib was running off the low here. Boom. All right. So that's the deal there. All right. So 80-20 on multiple time frames on this pound New Zealand. We'll see if we get our confirmations. Kumo twist, TK crossover, price to break through the cloud, give us that move back to the downside there. All right. So we'll watch that closely. On this pound New Zealand. All right. So let's see what we get on the news beneath. Ooh. Employment change well above unemployment rate dropped. Interesting. With the Aussie being data dependent, let's take a look at some Aussies real quick. Look at the Aussie New Zealand. This is one that we put into the Discord. Got to rise. Right? Pushed into that daily resistance level there. Whoops. It's supposed to be the daily. All right. So we got this daily resistance level here that we're pressing into pretty strong. All right. So we'll see if we break that level and continue rising there. Looks like we're trying to. On the 4, see a little more closely, right? We talked about seeing if price rises back through that zone, and we're trying to break that level now and break back to the upside. So here on the 1, all right, we'll watch this close, right? Because we got an 80-20 scenario here, shallow retracement 118, 127. We'll see if we stay below this level. If we stay below this level, we could get a price of turnover and press down. All right, so strong push there. Aussie's pushing. Let's take a look at the Aussie dollar. time. Rising, right? Not as much of a push, but got a nice bump here, right? So we're tracking this off the 4, 80-20 on the 4, right? And we're still trying to press to the upside here, okay? Trend line moves down like that now, but trying to push back long. We'll see. That was a pretty big number. That was a pretty big number. Didn't expect it to grow. Well, it dropped from the previous month. They were expecting a larger drop, but it didn't drop very much. 11,000. Interesting. This will be interesting as well. So going into hit TP on the Aussie CAD. Great work, Brandy. Great work. We'll take a look at it. We'll see how the market takes this in, right? This data into account in the morning. That'll be interesting to see there, right? Let's take a look at the Aussie CAD. Here we are on the daily. All right, we came down to that support level. Did I have a fib on this? No, I didn't. Interesting. All right. Leave it like that for now. But came into this support level and we're getting a push. All right, we're getting a push. Oops. I'm gonna fib off this high here. Haven't gotten to a 382. Didn't get to the 118 level, right? Now we're trying to press back long off that daily support level, right? And we're pushing here. We're pushing there. Come down to the 4. I'm looking for some of the same. Right? Oops. Fib off the high. Boom. All right, so we're getting this pullback here. Came into that daily level and pushing back long. We shall see if we get a deeper push here. Okay. We'll watch this closely, or if this turns over and presses back down. But pressing long right now. Interesting. That data is definitely interesting. So here on the 1, right, similar to that 4, pressing off the daily support. We'll see how high we push before we turn back over. This is going to be interesting to track this one. Don't think the market was expecting that. Don't think they were expecting that. Yeah. So let's go down to the 15. We'll track these to the upside. Let's see. Let's come back. Daily, right? We're neutral. Neutral to bearish, right? Price has been coming down. Come to our 4. Bullish. All right, pressing off that daily support level, trying to get long. I'm sorry, neutral on the 4. And then on our 1, right, we're shifting to this bullish bias. All right, so price is pressing to the upside here. So we'll see if we're able to break above this resistance level or if we stay in this range. All right, we'll monitor that. Okay, so we'll keep our eyes there, see what happens, see if we get a stronger push to the upside. Okay, so that's on the Aussie CAD. See what the Euro Aussie did. Did we get a press to the downside finally on it? Trying to. trying to break down, right? So here on the daily, we're pressing into this monthly resistance level now, just shy of the 118, 127 zone off of a shallow retracement, right? And we're trying to turn over and press down now. Okay, trying to turn over and press down now. So coming down here on the 4, right? This is the setup that we had from earlier. Shallow retracement, 118, 127 zone, right? Right in line with that monthly resistance level. And we're breaking down, right? I had an early entry on this one, right? But we'll see if price is able to turn over and start making its way back to the downside here, right? But we're into that 118, 127 zone on the 4-hour time frame on this Euro Aussie, right? Bullish news coming in line with the monthly resistance level, right? Coming down through to the 1.
Sorry, excuse me. I have a question.
Yeah, what's up, Jens?
Sorry. On that, on the page you were just at, you were showing your fib and you had the 8 right there. Where you have the B.
Uh-huh.
Why was that level selected as the B?
Yep.
And not the one I'm pointing like you can see it. Like
not this
what
one.
are the other points? No, back, like
Right,
further to the
lower.
left.
Yep.
Yeah,
so,
that or any of those.
Yep. So let's look at this previous fib, right? So in this previous fib, your C is here, right? You got.
Oh, I see. You had the previous fibs there.
Yep. So you got your A.
Oh, right.
Hold up. You got your A. And your B. And your C is the deepest point, right? Deepest point in between the AB boundary.
Between the AB boundary, right?
Yep. So this is your C, right? And your C got to a 618 retracement level, right? Didn't make it to the 786 zone, right? Didn't make it here. So we got to the 618 retracement level. So you're matching the extension on the other side of that B boundary is your 1618 extension level, right?
Right.
So if that's your matching extension based on your retracement, right? Then your B is your first swing high after that level is achieved. We achieved that level here at 161,808, and we formed a swing high.
You said, okay, that's the key, because for me, just starting, I don't have previous fibs.
Yep. So you draw manually, right? So you'd start at the low here. Start at the low, and you just like you draw manually on the was it the Euro USD?
Right.
You draw them manually here. Okay. So look. You just map them out manually. So you start at your low, and you go to your first swing high.
To the first swing high. Okay.
First swing high, right? That's your first AB boundary.
Right.
And that's what sets everything else, right? So now your deepest point in between your AB boundary is your C, right? And we got a 50% retracement here.
Mm-hmm.
So your matching D extension is what?
That 1.618?
Correct. Right. So now your second fib looks like this.
Okay.
Boom.
Right.
So now we continue in that fashion. I'm going to delete this just so we can see the numbers a little easier. Right. So here, retracement, 50%. Right. Your deepest point in between that AB boundary.
Now becomes my new A.
Right. So that's your C becomes your new A and your D becomes your new B. Right. So we look at this level. Look at this level, right? That's your matching D extension, 1618. So you got the first swing high that formed, right? Your first swing high is here, 2 to the left, 2 to the right. So that's your first swing high after that level was achieved.
The first swing high.
Yep. Okay. First swing high after the matching D extension level is achieved. Okay. So now we got that. So that's our new fib.
Oh, boom. Wow. Okay.
Right. Okay. So now that's your AB boundary. Your C, the deepest point in between that AB boundary, we got to the 618 retracement, looks like. Right? 50, 6181 retracement. Matching the extension is what?
Of that one is 1.618.
Correct. Right. So again, the first swing high after that level is achieved. Price
Oh,
achieved that
that's,
level there. First swing high is here.
and that would be our new A.
Your C becomes your new A. Your D becomes your new B. And now we're rocking like this. Right. So
See, I
now
got you. I got it now.
you
Okay.
follow, right? So as you're mapping
Yeah.
them out manually, remember that point, right? First swing high after
After.
that
That's
D
what threw me
extension
off.
level is achieved.
Let me write that
That's the
down.
key.
Okay. Yeah,
That's the
what I
key.
did. Got you.
Right. And so that last one will go, that's your C, D extension there. Right. D extension was achieved there. This is your first swing high. Boom.
Right. Okay.
Right. So now you're here. And now, right, deep retracement, 618 retracement level. That's your C,
Gotcha.
D extension. Boom.
Got
So
it.
now your C becomes your new A. First swing high after the D extension is achieved. Boom.
Oh my goodness, that really helped me because I was just throwing up. I was just, doing my B's as the next swing high, except for it needs to be like you said, the next swing high after the last D level was achieved.
Correct.
And that's what's been throwing me off. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Appreciate you asking. Appreciate you asking. Awesome. All right. You gotta ask these questions, good people, right? And we know that you're going to have questions as you're going through the training, right? So Janice, I appreciate you asking because the questions that you have, most likely somebody else will have too, right? And not everybody's comfortable asking questions in public forums, but we do our best to make sure that this environment is an all-inclusive one. So we want you to feel comfortable asking those questions when you don't understand. So Janice, you don't have to apologize for asking. Jump in, ask the question so that we can help you see it.
Thank you.
And then you can go back and practice. And as you practice, you'll have more questions.
Okay.
Bring those questions too, right? So continue at because that's how you're going to be able to put the pieces together, right? And you'll continue to have new aha moments. Jeremy just posted in the community the other day. He had another aha moment. Jeremy's been with us, what, a year and a half now, Jeremy? So they'll continue to be there, right? And you'll be able to continue to refine how you see the markets, and you'll continue to refine your spatial intelligence to be able to see these things a little bit more clearly each time. And that's that 1% better that we talk about, right? Seeking the growth, seeking the progress. And the way you do that is through asking the questions, going back and practicing, asking the questions, going back and practicing. So we appreciate you.
Thank you. Appreciate you too.
Absolutely. All right. So that's where we are. All right. So it's pressing, right? Trying to turn over. So we'll see if we get that continuation to the downside there. But that's the 80-20 on this Euro Aussie at a monthly resistance level. I'm going to drop the smart fibs back on. Right. And then Janice, right, as you're practicing, anybody else, right, as you're practicing, drawing them out manually, after you practice drawing them out, drop the smart fib on, right, and see where it falls. And you can match them that way as well. Okay.
Good idea. Okay.
So that's our 80-20 there on the Euro Aussie. Okay. We'll continue to monitor. We know we're bullish on the Euro, right? So we'll monitor this closely to see if this does turn over and give us that nice press to the downside. So that's the 80-20 on the 4. Come down to the 1. And we didn't. That's a strong bearish candle there. Didn't get to the 118 and 127 zone here, right? But shallow or no retracement here, and price just continued to trickle up and then turn over. Okay. So strong bearish candle. Strong bearish candle pressing to the downside. So now let's see. Let's see what happens. Okay. So we know, right? A lot of times with these bearish candles or impulsive candles, right? Market likes to take back some of that. So after this candle closes, we'll look for a retracement on the lower time frame, right? And that can be our entry opportunity to then get short, right? So you don't want to jump while that thing is falling. If you weren't in this already on that level, right? Allow price to continue to move, look for the pullback, and then we can find that entry and take that shot to the downside, right? So that's on the 1 hour, down on the 15. And if you're waiting for the additional confirmations, right, here's your additional confirmation, right? We don't have a cloud twist yet, right? So if you're waiting on the cloud break and the twist, we got a TK crossover. We need a Kumo twist here and see a bearish cloud ahead with price below the cloud. So we got a little bit to wait still, right? So like this tells us without that bearish cloud, right, we could be in for, right, that pullback. Okay. So be patient on it if you're not in this already to the downside, right? Allow it to develop, allow it to do its thing. Okay. We don't have a swing high yet, so we don't have a new AB boundary here on the 15. Okay. So this is also a way, right? I know a lot of people like to jump into these as the market is moving, and then you get caught in drawdown that you don't want to be in and you're not comfortable with it because you're over leveraged, right? Using the cloud is a way to protect yourself from that, right? It's a way to slow yourself down. Oh, it's running. I don't want to miss it, right? We got to address why you don't want to miss it, right? Because the market is going to continue to move. But the way that you won't miss it is look for the confirmations, look for the twist, right? Look for price to break the cloud with the bearish cloud ahead. Slows you down and really forces you to look at the details. And that can be a trigger for you, right? You can write it in your rules. That can be that trigger as you get impatient. Did my confirmations get met of the cloud? No. Take a deep breath and sit on your hands physically if you have to, like Shauna used to do, and just wait. Right? So that's what it is. That's what it is. So still be patient here. We got the push down, right? Strong impulsive move. The data could be the catalyst, right? Now we'll wait for a retracement. And then we'll look for an entry opportunity. But 80-20 nonetheless on the 4 hour, B boundary on your 1 hour. Okay. Just shy of the 118 and 127 zone on the daily. Questions on the Euro Aussie?
None from me.
Cool deal. All right. I want to take a look back at this. Let's take a look at this pound Aussie since we're looking at these Aussies. This one probably falling off the cliff too. Yep, strong bearish action there. Beautiful. So here, right, wasn't able to break above this daily level. So we'll see if we get continuation now. We may not, but we'll see. But we're still staying below this daily level, right? We've been playing at it for a couple of days now, right? Matching the extension is there at 188. No 382. It's a long way to go. So we'll see what happens, right? So we'll come down through the time frames here on the 4. There's our 80-20 there. Shallow retracement, 118, 127 zone. High in the zone, right? D extension on the 4 is there. Daily is there. This is that consolidation at that daily zone, right? Pressing to the downside here. So again, strong impulsive candle. We'll see if we're able to get some continuation with that data. Okay. Coming down to our 1. We're hovering at that B boundary zone. Breaking back below the cloud now. Still bullish cloud ahead though. All right. So again, force you to be patient here if you're not in this already. Okay. Force you to be patient there. We didn't get that push up into that zone like we talked about yesterday. I believe it was yesterday. All right. Didn't get that push up. So now If we continue to stay down, right, pull back, retest, and then look for a continuation. Okay. That's the deal. So coming here to the 15, right? 15, you had a deep retracement. 8-6 retracement here, daily level, boom. All right. So even here, if you didn't take that deep retracement, if you're waiting on the cloud confirmations, you still got some time to wait. Still got some time to wait, and that's okay. Right? Because again, looking at it from the higher time frame perspective, if this is going to continue to the downside, you got a ways to go. Right? You got a ways to go. So no need to rush. No need to rush. Right? Allow price to do what it's going to do. If you get a pullback into the zone, right? That's almost 600 pips back to the daily support level. Just zone to zone. So you got time. You got time. So no need to rush. No need to rush. Allow the market to come into the zones that you want it to come into. Right? Allow it to show you that. With that being said, allow it to prove it to her. Right? Allow it to prove it to you. Pull back, stay below, cloud twist, right? Allow it to prove it to you. If it doesn't prove it to you, then don't take the trade. And that's okay too. Okay? So there it is. Whoops, there it is. Pound Aussie. Any questions there?
Oh,
Cool deal. Cool deal. They're moving. They are moving. I want to pop back and check up on a couple of these others. The Swiss yen. So this one, I'm continuing to keep my eyes on it. Yen hasn't changed, right? Been pushing long. Weekly time frame, we haven't gotten a 382. We're pushing back into weekly resistance levels here. Pushing back into weekly resistance levels. Hold on one second, everybody. Weekly resistance levels here, right? Strong push to the upside. So this is intriguing me, right? Coming back into where we had some consolidation and some indecision. So I want to see what happens here, right? Come down through the time frames on our daily. Now here is where we get some indifference, right? We got an 8-6 retracement off the daily, matching the extension will be an all-time high at 154, right? So what I want to see is, does price hold here in this zone, or do we break above and continue pressing higher, right? With the Swissy kind of taking that safe haven currency space, right? If we move into risk off environment. Okay. So this zone is important in my eyes, right? We got a daily resistance level and we got weekly resistance levels here as well, right? So a pretty strong zone where we have some indecision from a higher time frame. So I want to watch that there, right? Also, we have a harmonic pattern here. I've been practicing on these, good people. I've been trying to figure them out. We're working on figuring them out, right? So we got a harmonic pattern here also, right? So if we get a swing high to form here, right, or anywhere in this zone, right, we could be in for retracement, right? On these harmonic patterns, draw the fib on that last impulsive leg, right? And then that looks like that. So this is also something that I'm watching from this perspective, right? So if we do get a shallow retracement and push into this 118 to 127 zone, right, from a higher time frame perspective, this could also be a key zone for us to get a reaction if we don't get that reaction here, right? From a harmonic perspective. Okay, so that's another view of how I'm looking at this, right? So this is a key zone. Excuse me, that's the key zone. So as we come down to the 4, on the 4, we were overextended, right? This was the D extension here. Never got a swing high to form until now in this weekly resistance zone. Okay. So again, if we get price to push into this 118, 127 zone, right? The daily was in the same area, right? So 118, 127 off of that harmonic fib. So 118, 127 off the 4. If we get that action, right? If we don't turn over out of this zone. Okay, so I'm watching this one closely from this perspective. And then as we come down to the 1, we have an 80-20 here, right? So we got a lot of confirmation here in this zone from a harmonic perspective, from a fresh AB boundary perspective, and then on the 1 hour time frame, we got an 80-20. So now it's about, do our confirmations get met to enter this trade to the downside? So I want to see price break back below this weekly level, retest it and hold, right? And then coming down to the 15, I also want to get my cloud confirmations here. Okay. I also want my cloud confirmations here. And then we can look for that opportunity to the downside, right? So this one, play with a little more caution because it's a yen cross, right? But if we get our confirmations, pull the trigger. Okay. So that's how I'm looking at the Swiss yen. So we'll watch it and see what happens. We'll watch and see what happens. Any questions here? Nope. Okay. Cool deal. Let me see. See what else we got here. Yeah, that's those are the ones that I got my eyes on for the day. Let's go back to this Aussie New Zealand real quick because it was pressing to the upside. I just want to get a check before we wrap it up. Then we posted this one in the Discord. So on the 4, we pressed up into that zone, trying to press above and close above that level. Okay. Down on the 1. Actually need to stop outside the D. On the 1, right? 118, 127 zone. We closed above that daily level. Now let's see if we're able to stay above it, or do we immediately return below? Right? If we immediately return below, we could see that retracement occur. If we retest and press up, we could get to that D extension. Right? So we'll watch this closely to see what happens here. We'll watch this closely to see what happens here. Okay. Yeah. Let's watch this one because we could be in for reversal. So we'll be patient. We'll look for accelerated like crazy. We'll wait for our confirmations, right? And we'll see what happens with the cloud. That strong push on the fundamental data. You got a ton of space in between the cloud, right, and price. So it could be a while, but we'll watch and see what happens. But we could be in for a retracement there. Okay. Questions on anything that we covered this evening? Oh, Benny, you got anything before we wrap it up, bro?
No, sir. Great session. You covered a lot.
Yeah, time flew, man. Time flew.
Yeah. The Aussies gaining some strength, eh?
It is.
To the upside, right? Mm-hmm. So I mean, no, like we always say, no technical structure standing in the way of a strong fundamental occurrence. So
Never will.
it came in right. What was that? Above expectations. Is that what it is?
Oh yeah.
That happened with it. Okay,
It was
big
expected
number.
20.8 came in at 53. The unemployment change.
Yeah.
And then
So it's in the zones, right? But
dropped.
oh wow, yeah. So it's it's giving a lot. It's giving good strength to the Aussie to the upside. So as long as you right, if you don't, there's no. Yep, it went through the zone, but there's no confirmation to the downside. So
correct.
That is what it is on that one, right?
Yep.
So if you took the position in the zone, right, that's why you have stop losses and you have risk, and you've calculated that before you even take the position. But yeah, we'll see how that plays out. That shot up like a rocket.
Man, it did. It definitely did.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a strong candle there. I wonder how far it's going to push before it takes some of it back. That's not too. What time frame is that?
This is on the one.
On the
30,
one.
30
Okay.
or so. 35.
Oh yeah. That's it. I mean, not a super crazy reaction.
No, not
Like
hundreds.
we see. No. So we'll see what happens. I mean, we're in the Asian session. We'll see what happens overnight.
Yeah.
With that one. Yeah. Okay.
Cool deal.
Got it. But no, that's it, man. I'm getting close to the house now, so I'll definitely be jumping on my charts. I'll be ready tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yes, sir. All right, good people. We will see you in the morning. Have a good evening. Have a good morning. Talk to you later. Peace.
Have a good night. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.